Today I have carburetors from the CBR600F2. It's a 92 model. This is a friend's carburetors which he asked me to do a rebuild. We're going to replace all the seals, the O-rings and everything, as he realizes that the bike cannot start easily. He replaced the spark plugs, he checked the compression, everything was fine, but the bike was sitting for quite a long time and probably we have clogged jets or orifices, so we have to do that. Put them apart first, then ultrasonic cleaner, and then let's build them on. And since my friend was lazy enough to remove the lower part of the air filter, I'll do it myself. Free the tubes. And let's start with the bottom, right here. I'll push and turn. Done that. Crack them all open first. And let's see what's the damage inside. Not as bad as I thought it would be. There are some deposits over the years, but even the gasket is pretty good. These appear to be well clean enough, but you never know. Push it this way and you remove it. Let's see the needle. Can't see with bare eyes very well, but it seems to be okay. Main jets. And 135 as well. Pilot jets. 38. With a 7mm spanner you can remove the needle jets. One more thing, pilot screws. Let's see how much it's out. Half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. Not that it matters. I just want to make sure that it was somewhat close to the limits. Normally it's 2 turns and an eighth of a turn out. Now the difficult part is to remove the washer and the O-ring in there. It needs a bit very light scraping because it's stuck in there. Seems in good condition as well. Now let's do the top. I know what you're thinking, and you're probably right. I should have started from the top so I won't push everything and bend something here. Yes, that's correct. But I didn't apply any pressure. They were really easy to go out, so no problem. But if you do it, yes, start from the top so you have the good support of the flat bowl. hold it before you remove the third bolt, because the spring load is going to push it back. No, it doesn't. Yep. Let's remove the membrane. Remember that part here. Don't cut it. The membrane looks in good condition. There's no cracks or cuts. One last thing before we start doing the external cleaning. Remove the choke mechanism. We remove that, and there's two washers underneath here, which they go, in my opinion, like that. Having the choke lever removed, we remove the choke plungers. Now it's a 10mm, it's plastic, the choke plungers, they don't need much tightening. There's a spring, and that's the actual choke, which it has a rubber in there and closes the orifice for extra fuel. Now the last one is the only one that has a spring on the outside, so every time you close the choke to push it back together. So remember, right here, remember, that's how it is. That goes like that. And I think now we're good to go for an external nice cleaning before we put in the ultrasonic cleaner. Okay, so I have all the carburetors disassembled, cleaned as much as I could with some petrol and some other solvents. But as you noticed, I don't have any jets. I put all the jets separately, and I'll put this with fluid from the ultrasonic cleaner and let it float. The reason, by experience, I learned the hard way that if you put brass and aluminum together, the brass becomes a bit black. So I don't know, it's some kind of reaction between the two metals, I don't know. Steel and aluminum, fine. I set it for 20 minutes. I put it on 50 degrees, but this is not getting warmed easily. You need hours for this. That's the downside of the big ultrasonic cleaner, but I put hot water in there, which I reckon is about that much, 50 degrees. So let's start. Pretty good on the inside too, and the bolts and screws and everything. They look pretty good to me. Let's put for another 20 minutes the plastic stuff. Actually 10 minutes should be fine. Yeah, the needles being very dirty, now they're all gone. Done. They didn't clean as much as I wanted, and I put them with white vinegar now. I was told with white vinegar they do clean really well. So let's start with 10 minutes. Ten minutes gone, and let's see. They definitely look much cleaner, and I think I like that. The white vinegar does much better job with brass. Now the next step is to remove them two, which come all the way the other side, and separate them so we can be able to replace all the breather hoses, the vacuum hoses, O-rings, and the fuel feed tubes O-rings. So let's start with the 8mm here. And there is on the other side, further up, the 10mm. I'll try to remove first carburetor 1. Of course there's pressure from the O-rings keeping them together, and the springs up here. I'll try to make it as easiest as I can. Maybe I'll even keep these there so it won't create a mess. Not much pressure, because we're gonna destroy things. Okay, oops. Now that's carburetor number 1. Important thing to remember, that in between the spring and the screw tip goes that plate. Let's put the spring in between. Not much pressure, because you can break the bodies and that wouldn't be any good to us. Find more solid places to apply pressure, like here, but in here it's quite thin. Number 3, which it has that spring between 3 and 4. This is the bracket for the choke cable. Goes somewhere here. And now we separated everything and we have everything in order. Let's put these things on. LiteTek also has online a diagram that shows which one of their own kit codes onto the carburetor, so you won't get confused. I'll put a link on the description below. And I got everything here. So I have OR24, which goes on this pipe that goes to the air filter. I have OR14, which goes to the breather hoses, 2 of them here and 2 of them here, and the OR16, which is the fuel line T-pipes, 1 here and 1 here. Let's do that. Okay, we have the hose and we have the O-rings. It's a good idea to put some silicone paste. That's 2. Bit in there, twist and push. Now let's do these 2 tubes, 2 on this one and 2 on the other one. One, one, two. And that one goes right there with twist and push and stays like that upwards. Let's do the other one. And the other one's ready. Now let's do the fuel pipes. They go down like this, so we have to put them in that spot. They can't go any other way, no matter what. And these are the OR16s, which I'm gonna put some silicone paste. And the other one goes here. Now we twist and push, and it's right on the spot. Same goes for the next one. Needless to do the procedure again. And I would say it's a good idea to put them all back together. The best way is to put these rods up and put the carburetors, slide them in one by one. Let's start with carburetor number 4. Now, this one has to go right in between on the bottom of this spring, right there. And they closed. Here we have only one O-ring, the one from the upper hose. Make sure it goes right where it's supposed to. The biggest pain in the ass with carburetors is to make the springs go over these plates. That's the main problem. And let's put the last carburetor spring right here. That's the difficult part. That spring to go between the screw and the plate. And after a lot of effort, managed to put the springs between the plates. Let's put the screws back on to secure them all nice and tight. Now let's start from the bottom. Let's put the power jets first. Actually here it will be good to put some oil or other kind of lubricant, just a little. It's too much, let's divide it. The middle jets. Just a nice snug, not too tight. Let's put the main jets. Now let's go for the pilot screws in here. Let's put these in there. Spring, washer, and then O-ring, and it's right on the edge, it doesn't fall, and you throw it in. Then you go in, all the way in. Once it stops, that's it. Half, 1.5, 2, and right about there it's 1/8 of a turn out, so 2 1/8 of a turns out. We do the same for the rest. Now put the floaters. It goes like that, and we direct it right into the hole, right in there. They're not adjustable, and then we put the pin from this side to that side. Next step, put the float balls in and use fresh gaskets. Do the rest and let's go from the top. Now we'll go on the top side, but before we start putting everything in, we need to replace an O-ring in here. That O-ring right there. Some silicone paste here and we're done. Once you have that, and now it goes really nice and tight, and it seals any kind of air that was leaking before. And there's a little spring there to make the needle play a bit. And that's how we do the rest of them. Make sure the membrane sits really well, make sure this part sits really well. Another small detail, there are some O-rings here on the drain pipes which we have to replace. These ones, and this is what we're gonna put in there. A bit of silicone grease and we're in. No reason to over tighten. Once it sits, stop. And we come to the hardest part, for me at least, the choke plungers. If you can see inside there is a small rubber that may be worn and causing problems. Do not close the orifice correctly and fuel overflows, and that's what choking the engine with fuel. We have to put these in there. The only way to do it is by burn them, because if we try to scrap it and take it out, we're gonna bend this and we're gonna destroy it. So burn this, clean it, and put the new ones in. Have something to hold it and twist it slowly so it can have a uniform temperature, and let's burn it. There you go, came out quickly. Let's let it cool down, clean it a bit, and put the new ones in. Clean. Apply some silicone paste, very light coat in there and on the O-ring. Try to push it with a screwdriver. Until you get something like that. After you do it, a good idea is to just push it inside in one of the choke plunger hoses so it can sit flat. It was already okay, but it doesn't hurt to double check. One last thing to do before we put the choke plungers in is to replace that plastic cover here, and we'll put these ones in. That's the new, it doesn't take much effort. And then you join the spring and then the piston itself. which once you get it in, you push it all the way to go from the other end and it won't come out. That one's ready. You do this for all four. And once you have everything on, it'll be a good idea at this point to put some silicone paste on the piston, because we don't know when we're gonna put them on, and these can become quite dry and get stuck in there, and when you try to pull back the choke, it won't, it'll stuck really badly. So now this is a 10mm, and be very careful with this, because all you need is just a little snag. Once it stops going in like that, you just stop. That's it, that's all it needs. And a small detail, make sure you put in both these edges, on both sides, some silicone paste, and some silicone paste on the spaces. Let's put the O-rings for the air filter box. And now let's put the air filter box on. Now let's put these in here, pass them through 1, 2, 3 gaps, and once you turn them, make sure you twist them until one of them looks at the top, right there. And the very last touch, the idle cable. Remember, spring washer. Now to make it easier for us, because if we have it way too out, it's not gonna idle, the engine is not gonna start. If we have it too much inwards, the engine is gonna rev up to the sky. So we twist inwards and we see the butterfly. Once the butterfly starts moving, which is right there, and quite a bit. Once the butterfly starts moving, there, we stop, and then we'll take it from there. And they're all done. Nice, clean, with fresh seals and no rings. And that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope this video will be helpful for many of you that you have this amazing motorcycle. I remember riding one of them back in the 90s, and it was a pleasure to hear the engine pairing with no problems at all. Good handling as well, and lots of wheeling. And once I finish with that, look at the cat dragged from the streets. problem with the clutch. It doesn't engage properly. I'm not sure what the problem is. It's either in here, they're all done, or we have an issue in here. But this is for the next video. Ride safe everyone, look after yourselves and families.